Hey guys, how you going? Well, I think we've got our Kamala and Pelosi in one. Check this out. This is Australia's Linda Burney, Aboriginal Minister.
As you know, over the past 2 years, and every state and territory, bar one, has either a treaty or a truth-telling or both processes underway. I've met with Aboriginal Affairs ministers and the community. They believe we are heading in the right direction. Can I say that
No.
for me, the issue of truth-telling is not about a judicial process.
Of course not.
It's about bringing people together and bringing people with you. As you know...
Okay, go home, Linda, you're drunk. Okay, we have here Linda Burney, the same lady, proud Gucci woman, living on Prada country. This is the Aboriginal Minister, or Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, or something. Is she Aboriginal? I don't know. She might be 1/1000th Aboriginal, not sure. Does she actually do any work? I don't think so, other than lining her own pockets for Prada and Gucci. To continue on with that, Katie said, do the people of the Northern Territory even know who Linda Burney is? She could have used her position to make a difference, but she didn't. Another useless Labor MP. She definitely did not. Okay, we have some stuff to go over on Rumble as well. We have quite a bit, actually. It's very interesting. Rowan Dean said to answer Paul Kelly's question, one of the many reasons Trump will be good for Australia is because he will restore peace to the Middle East. And what do you think that will do? A lot of people will want to go home. Peace in the Middle East. Donald J. Trump's posts from his Truth Social, looking forward to seeing Bibi Netanyahu on Friday and even more forward to achieving peace in the Middle East. DJT. Apparently, Mohammed Abbas wrote Donald Trump a letter denouncing the act of violence on the attempted assassination. Mohammed's so nice, thank you, everything will be good, best wishes. So, okay. Not only do they want to go after the chickens, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go after cattle as well. Here you go. Wall Street Silver said the World Economic Forum, the United Nations and numerous globalists like Bill Gates and John Kerry are organising a war on farmers in the name of climate change. They want to eliminate most of the cows, pigs and farming techniques which sustain billions of people on this planet. They want you eating massive processed chemical food created in labs and factories that they own and control. Dr. Martin Luther, real Martin Luther, said Stalin called the farmers the enemies of the people by expropriating, yes, them. The state took control of food production. Then 7 million Russians were starved to death. Now, 100 years later, the World Economic Forum is opening the war on farmers. Sound familiar? Okay. They don't want to stop there. They want your pets too. The WEF wants to slaughter millions of pet cats and dogs to fight climate change, posted by the EU Times on December the 10th, 2022. The World Economic Forum has recently launched a controversial new initiative that will have animal rights activists up in arms. The World Economic Forum is now calling for millions of cats and dogs worldwide to be slaughtered in an effort to reduce the carbon footprint they produce as a result of eating meat. Okay, let them try. Try and come after my animals. See what happens. I'll come out swinging. I don't know what good I'll do, but I'll come out swinging anyway. Mitch and Kim's page said blokey gag. Okay, CKM114 said Lady Gaga was a biological male. Evil, gone. Okay, well, let's have a listen. What's going on in this clip? I won't make it big in case they try to copyright me.
That rumor that you had a male appendage, that you were a hermaphrodite, and you joked about it on the stage last night.
Maybe I do.
But it's interesting.
Would it be so terrible?
But it's interesting. Yep. A lot of artists would immediately put out some sort of a statement saying this is absolutely not true. you have fun with it.
Why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, and neither do I.
That rumor were...
Okay. Didn't say no, that's not true at all. And it would matter because you've been lying to people for a long time. That's why it matters. Okay, Wall Street Silver said what could go wrong, letting a bunch of bureaucrats who favour total control have a database listing all of your assets. EU wants to build a comprehensive database on the assets of all citizens. What's behind it? Critics, however, fear that the register could be misused in times of crisis to use citizens' assets to pay off debt. This is not unfounded, as historical examples show that asset registers can be used for state intervention in times of crisis. They reckon they want to combat money laundering and terror. Look, they're the biggest ones, okay? They want a list of all your assets. Very interesting, isn't it? Wide Awake Media said now they're coming after rice to save the planet. World Bank President AJ Banga, speaking at the WEF, methane is 80 more times dangerous than carbon dioxide. Here we go with another one now. Got another gas to worry about. Let's have a look.
What we have is an existential climate crisis. We've talked about methane. Methane from flaring is known, but rice paddy cultivation, waste management, and dairy husbandry can help you enormously with combating methane. Methane is 80 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide. It gets only 2% of climate financing today. We have a misalignment with what we need to focus on.
Oh, that's the whole... They want finance. I get it. I get it. So that's what this is about. Let's make methane the next bad thing so we can get more funding.
We're talking about working with 15 countries and taking out 10 million tons of methane by focusing on rice paddy, on animal and dairy, and on waste management. What we have is an existential...
Look, they're all con men. Seriously. Don't believe them. Okay, Claus Arminius said a British female police officer had a nose broken by a Pakistani man resisting arrest in Manchester airport. The officers tased and kicked the attackers. Pakistanis are now protesting outside Rochdale Police Station, or Rockdale Police Station, and threatening to riot and burn England if the officers are not imprisoned. The British police will cave to the violent mob again, just like last week in Leeds. Wow, your police in the UK are so cucked. So cucked. Holy guacamole. And that, like, there was video of the Pakistani man after he broke this woman's nose, getting kicked in the head, and all the Pakistanis were going nuts, and all the English people were going, well, don't hit our women. Okay, anyway. Okay, what have we got here? The DC Drano said the DNC plans to hold a virtual nomination of Kumala and is blocking delegates from nominating new candidates. They call Republicans a threat to democracy when they're putting a candidate on the ticket that got 0 votes. Jack Pozo said breaking, DNC moves to hold virtual nomination of Kamala before the August convention. Blocks delegates from nominating new candidate despite Kamala receiving 0 votes. Okay, wow. Okay, Proud Army Brat said the freak mob was fed some pepper spray for supper. Yep, the Palestinian protesters were getting pepper sprayed. Apparently, allegedly. Well, that's what you get. Yes, I don't mind seeing more of that. Cashy said Labor politicians have realised they're going to lose the election, so they're starting to resign in droves, like rats leaving a sinking ship. Watch them run, all the little rats. The rats are fleeing. Jay Hans said his watch wasn't on the right time during his live speech. The internet is undefeated. Okay, it's off. Way off. Okay, so there you go. It was 0 hours 12 minutes. Well, this, well, it's upside down. It says 10 past 6, nearly 6:15. To me, anyway. Unless he's wearing it where you can see what time it is, but he can't. He looks at it upside down. Looks like 10 past 6. That would only be 12 if he was wearing it upside down. Do you get me? His watch says 8:06 p.m. No, it doesn't. The small hand is up here and the long hand is here. That's not 8:06 p.m. And it's not whatever this is either. Hang on, unless I'm reading it wrong. Okay. The one that stands out the most should be the 6 or the 12, shouldn't it? To me it says 10 past 6. Okay, I don't know. You can make up your own mind. Unless this here is the 6 o'clock and then that's 7. And then it's still... Depends. Then it's 10 to 15 past 7. Okay, I don't know. You work it out. I've got no idea. But apparently it wasn't live, it was recorded. Okay, let's get rid of these. What's this one? Oh, yes. Let's get rid of them as we go. That way I don't have all this stuff in. Okay. Darren Grimes said Muslim man says all officers in today's Manchester report altercation need to be arrested and suspended or they'll unleash protests like you've never seen before. No mention, of course, of the female officer with the broken nose caked in her own blood, suffering obvious PTSD. Is there? No. This is what happens when you let too many in. Inciting religious groups to attack the police sounds like a hate crime. Detail and deport them all, especially for threatening to incite a riot. I think she meant detain. Please someone tell him that his wig has slipped off his head and is under his chin. The mob again, bow to us or else. Diversity sure is our strength as long as they get their own way constantly. Yeah, do not listen to these people. In fact, send them home. Okay, I'm not going to play the video because I'm not... Yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to hear him. We have it all. This video is being suppressed or hidden on Kamalala's page, so I'm posting it again. Kamalala loved to incarcerate black people in particular, even hold them past their time. They did, for cheap prison labour. She split tons of families up. Children went to social services, and many of those children were never seen again by their family. Who is Kamala Harris? We have it all. Said you're not black and your family owned slaves. You imprisoned black people for minor crimes for years and kept them past their release date for cheap prison labour. It's got an A in it, cheap. You imprisoned mothers and fathers because children weren't in public school enough, so separating children from parents was your best idea. You had social services take kids away from their parents just because of truancy, and many of those kids never seen their mums and dads again. Majority of those families were black families. You should be absolutely ashamed, but you're not. You laughed about it. That's her family. Research scientist Shyamala Gopalan and her daughter Kamala Harris in 1964. Which one is it? Let me guess. Here she is. Do you think? Or do you think it's this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. There you go. Very interesting. Okay, then we got a bit of a slip up here. Let's have a listen to this.
Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas starts us off from Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning.
Our audience is about to see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump. It's all caught on police body cam video. And warning to our family at home, what you're about to see may be disturbing.
Did you actually hear that?
To see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump.
I didn't say it. He did. He did. Who's this? I don't know who he is. He's from ABC. And he said what I didn't say, okay? I'm telling you. He said it, not me. Okay. Okay. I just found one that I couldn't play on YouTube, I think.
You said you've been targeted.
Okay. That one will be on Rumble. Ivan Raikkonen said, breaking, everyone on the deep state target list are now suspects in the attempted assassination of real Donald Trump. This includes members from both political parties and senior, former and current government officials. That's not the only thing. If Kamala is not allowed to... if Kamala's not... what do you call it? Allowed to be the president, right? Because she's not an American citizen or whatever. Okay. Where does it go next? The Speaker of the House? You know that if the president can't and then the VP can't, where does it go next? Just think about that. Wall Street Silver said Axios forgot all of the times they've written articles referring to Kamala Harris as the border czar. Axios criticises border czar label for Kamala Harris. The Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Harris repeatedly with the border czar title, which she never actually had. Well, back in April 14th, 2021, Axios actually said Harris to visit Mexico and Guatemala to address root causes of border crossings and why it matters. The number of accompanied minors crossing the border has reached crisis levels. Harris, appointed by Biden as border czar, said she will be looking at the root causes and that drive migration. Wow. So they actually described her as the border czar, and now they're trying to rewrite history and say she never had that name. Matthew Kamanzuli said an open letter to the people of Australia. Dear fellow Australians, your government is letting you down. Okay, I think I knew that one. The political system made up of parties that don't represent you is letting you down. That is why we all have to take notice of what's happening in the two major political parties that govern Australia. I have had a front row seat to the mess in the Liberal Party. I can assure you the Liberal Party's letting you down. When people like Don Harwin are sitting in the role of President of the New South Wales division of the party, supposedly won by one vote, you don't have to look far to see why it does not represent you, the voter, crying out for choice. Don is a career insider and hack. He does not understand the burdens of raising a family, building a business or holding a real job. He is part of a corrupt machine that tramples on the rights of its members, remorselessly. The once great party of Menzies that built all that has been slowly reformed away, reforms that leave our young people without hope of buying a home or raising a family of their own. Don, who does not appear to give a second thought to the downstream impacts of his actions, today put forward a ballot to re-establish more of the same useless, feckless and unrepresentative Liberal sludge on the council that will, with few exceptions, leave the electorate without a genuine choice against Labor and the Greens. Part of the great managerial class, changing the dynamic of your local area, ruining your city and destroying all that was once great about Australia, corruption is rife on our councils and we're just going to get more of the same. I was hopeful that things would change and could change in the party that Don might, as he was more experienced than Kovacic and Felinski. Understand that at the very least members of the executive, representing members of the party, would be widely consulted to get a view of what actual Liberals are thinking. Sadly, no, the party is now destined to lock in one bad outcome for Australia after another. Sure, there are a few exceptions, but exceptions don't make good Australian government, rules do. It is so important that you, the Australian citizens, start to look at your government and your political parties more deeply. Understand that they are important to your day-to-day lives and that when they misbehave, break their own rules and ignore the wishes of well-meaning, high-quality people, only bad comes. It is why you're hurting right now. It is why we have a bunch of broken high-rise apartments in the wrong place. It is why gas is being banned for use in homes and business. It is why your bin can only fit a can of Coke and a chip wrapper. It's why you're being fined for parking for a minute to drop off your kids at school. It matters. Please, take an interest. Please come and help. Get involved. Make your voice heard and your presence felt. There is no hope while the Labor Party is beholden to the unions, the Liberal Party is beholden to the lobbyists, and the Greens are beholden to fairy tales. Together we can change this, make it better. Alone we can simply watch as more people are crammed into the wrong place on the wrong street with the broken cladding, while more businesses go to the wall and jobs are lost. We can be better than this. Regards, Matthew Kamanzuli, former New South Wales Liberal Party state executive, expelled for wanting to ensure that Australian people have quality representation. If you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you are doomed to live under the rule of fools. Get involved. Yep, look, be the change you want to see. Get involved in the government. Be active, be vocal, join parties, whatever you've got to do. Australia, stand up. Electroverse said Texas cold front breaks daily records. Aussie freeze exposes energy shortfalls. UK's cool summer results in low bat numbers. And CO2 versus natural climate variability. All of the media and environmental hype is just noise. Okay, let's have a look at the Australian weather satellite right now. Let it load itself up. We have southerlies coming through. Look over here, 2 of them. One's about to hit. I think we're going to get snow. I don't know. They keep saying we will and then it doesn't happen, so we'll see what happens. But this thing's going to this is flinging around. Eventually it'll fling up and over this way. You got this one coming through. That's the last one that apparently came. Why does it get really big when it hits over here? But we don't get it here. I didn't get any. I want snow. Hello. Anywho, we got some more. Oh, yeah, we got another. Where is it? Where was it? That was today. No, we got another one of the, the dipoles. Okay, we got one of them happening. The thing that was in the Antarctic that got that blew the warm weather up this way, they said, because we had a couple of nice mild days. We have had. So I've been making the most of it. So yeah, that little blip that they saw in Antarctica has pushed the warm weather through. And now comes the cold part. We're not over yet. Winter's not over yet, guys. Hang on to your hats. Okay, I'm glad I got a fireplace. Jodie Elizabeth said Jules needs to shut the f up and go away. E-safety boss launches partisan attack labelling Donald Trump a misinformation super spreader. Of course she does. Can we just put her on an island somewhere by herself, see how she fares? Okay. Wyatt said Kamala Harris dropped out of the race in 2019 because she couldn't raise any money, but now after 5 years of doing absolutely nothing, she smashes the fundraising record in 24 hours. Get the out, I smell bullshit. James O'Keefe showed how Act Blue is a Democrat money laundering scheme for billionaires, using common people's names and addresses without their permission or knowledge to making donations. Oh, I forgot to like it before I did that. The opinionated black woman, Auntie. The Olympic torch arrives in France. Oh, dear God. Oh, my God. Okay, women are wiped out now. There goes women for anything. Okay, it'll all be dragged now. Okay, John Godemsky said it's really frightening to realise the Secretary of the Prime Minister's Department is the husband of Victoria's Governor. What in the hell? Here in Australia? The Secretary of the Prime Minister's Department is the husband of Victoria's Governor. Oh, the webs they weave. Okay. Just get rid of some of these. Wow, that's interesting. Dan Scavino Jr. said the National Association of Police Organisations endorses President Trump to be the 47th POTUS. Founded in 1978, NAPO now represents more than 1,000 police units and associations and 241,000 sworn law enforcement officers who share a common dedication to fair and effective crime control and law enforcement. Good. Because, you know, that's why they say they can claim they have lower crime rates now, because they're not actually locking people up. There you go. That one would have to be played on Rumble by itself. Okay, helps if I turn the microphone on. Chef Jeff AU said Wayne Swan, yes, a former treasurer and terrible one at that, chairs CBUS. We are being rorted blind by the Labor Party and the unions. Where is the PM? Has he announced a Senate inquiry or a Royal Commission yet? He used to care about taxpayer funds being rorted, apparently, as did many of his voters. Wayne Swan accused of superfund conflict after committing CBUS funds to the ALP, Australian Labor Party, housing plan. The opposition has accused CBUS chairman and Labor Party National President Wayne Swan of having a conflict of interest after committing $500 million to support government goals. Senator Gerard Rennick said, I've always said it, superannuation is a racket for unions and the Labor Party. This proves it. A high-ranking CFMEU official is alleged to have boasted to corrupt building firms that he could secure them lucrative contracts on major construction projects financed by superannuation giant CBUS because of his influence with insiders at the Superfund. Allegations of improper dealings between CFMEU State Secretary Darren Greenfield and CBUS are made by state and federal detectives working for Operation Brownsmith, a special police task force in New South Wales that investigated alleged corruption between 2019 and 2022. CBUS is the default super fund for the construction industry, managing $94 billion on behalf of more than 920,000 members. The CFMEU and other construction union-nominated directors sit on its board alongside employer representatives. Separately, new evidence has emerged of ghosting on government sites in Victoria, with never-before-released excerpts of a covertly recorded discussion with self-styled CFMEU fixer claiming he was working with firms getting paid for non-existent workers. The recording, taken during an undercover sting earlier this year, captures fixer Harry Corris talking about how the union encourages some subcontractors to invoice Victorian government projects for ghost shifts that are not filled despite workers being rostered. Corris talks about how a scaffolding company was allegedly overwhelmed by the extra work it got after it helped get it a CFMEU agreement in return for money paid to the union. At the start, these boys were a bit worried, and then he rings me now and says, mate, we can't keep it up, the amount of work. He tells me an undercover operative posing as a subcontractor seeking a CFMEU EBA. And the union, you know this, they push the work longer. They say, leave it there, leave the boys there, don't worry about it. Then they, the union, ring him and say, listen, go to this site as well, put 4 boys there, but only put 2, but we invoice for 4. You take 1, we take 1. Asked, so no one's pretty much auditing anything? Corris points to how long the government's big build projects take, ranging from 3 to 10 years. Last year, the Victorian government was rocked by a labour hire company on the big build fraudulently invoicing taxpayers for ghost shifts, including one worker who supposedly did 3 shifts in 24 hours. However, then Premier Daniel Andrews said at the time he believed the incident was isolated. On previously aired extracts of a covert recording, Corris claims to an undercover operative who said he was a building firm owner that in return for kickbacks paid to Victorian CFMEU officials, Corris can obtain union backing for firms and also place them on state government projects. Corris has denied any wrongdoing. The CMFEU did not respond to requests for comment. CBUS support under scrutiny. Separately, allegations that firms have been paying kickbacks for CFMEU support and placement on union-influenced construction sites, and that Cbus might have aided the practice, have been made in New South Wales as part of a covert investigation targeting Greenfield and which led him to being charged with corruption offences in September 2021. His son Michael Greenfield, the New South Wales CFMEU's Assistant Secretary, was also charged. Both cases remain before the courts and are yet to be tested by a jury. There is no suggestion of their guilt. According to official documents cited by this masthead, New South Wales investigators allege Greenfield Sr. told a building company owner that he would exert his influence over Cbus in 2019 to ensure the supergiant instructed the lead contractor to use subcontractors favoured by the CFMEU. One project Greenfield allegedly claimed he could influence via his Cbus ties was the Union Giant's development project in Epping, New South Wales. The Langston development was finished in 2022 and involved a mixed-use precinct comprising 3 apartment towers and retail space. Cbus Property, a wholly owned subsidiary of Cbus, financed the $500 million development. While the lead contractor was large commercial building company Hutchinson, Operation Brownsmith officers allege Greenfield repeatedly claimed he would leverage his relationship with Cbus Connections, whom he was meeting regularly, to control which subcontractors secured work on the project. In return for influencing the awarding of work, the union boss allegedly sought kickbacks. Greenfield also allegedly claimed that unnamed Cbus employees sought his direct input into which subcontractors should win work. Around 12% of Cbus default MySuper option is invested in property, of which around 85% is unlisted. A spokesman for Cbus Property said it was unable to and will not comment on matters before the courts. Cbus Property undertakes a detailed process on each development site to appoint an independent contractor to manage its construction projects. The independent contractor enters into agreements with all subcontractors and suppliers. Subcontractors on all sites are appointed by the contractor, not Cbus Property. While many leaders in the union movement anticipated Greenfield would step aside as the CFMEU's New South Wales secretary when he was charged with serious corruption offences, he refused to do so and still wields considerable industrial power in the state. In a development unrelated to the police inquiry, this masthead can reveal CFMEU officials pushed for the appointment of Simon Gutierrez, a convicted drug dealer, as union delegate on a different Cbus and Centre Group joint venture development. Gutierrez was also recently appointed to the New South Wales branch's powerful Committee of Management. In his position as the delegate on the redevelopment of former David Jones in the Sydney CBD, Gutierrez can influence which subcontractors are hired on the project. There is no suggestion that Gutierrez has taken any kickbacks or is involved in the Greenfield's alleged bribery. Among Greenfield's key supporters are Cbus Director Rita Malia, a senior CFMEU New South Wales official. Greenfield has insisted he's done nothing criminal and said last week that because the matter was before court, he couldn't comment on the police allegations. The CFMEU and Malia did not respond to requests for comments about Greenfield's allegedly improper use of Cbus. On Sunday, it emerged that Malia and Greenfield had signed a letter to Premier Chris Minns on Friday, attacking him for backing a major clean-up of the CFMEU in response to revelations by this masthead and 60 Minutes that the union had been infiltrated by organised crime and was allegedly involved in serious corruption. In the letter signed by Greenfield and Cbus board member Malia, the CFMEU threatened to release the names of MPs, ministers and public servants who Greenfield met with prior to the last state election. This masthead is not suggesting that Malia is involved in the conduct alleged against Greenfield, including that involving Cbus. It comes as Victoria's shadow cabinet on Monday ticked off on a private member's bill which would effectively ban construction companies whose employees have links to organised crime and outlaw motorcycle gangs from winning lucrative government contracts. The private member's bill, which will be sponsored by an opposition major project spokesman David Southwick, would force construction giants bidding to work for work to guarantee its employees, including subcontractors, didn't have a history of organised crime and that workers didn't consort with organised crime figures. Employees with pending criminal charges of organised crime offences would also be excluded from working on major government projects in a move the opposition says mirrors similar reforms in other jurisdictions. Leader of the opposition, John Pizzuto, said bikies and organised criminals have no place on taxpayer-funded construction sites and the new laws will keep them out for good. For a decade, Labor has turned a blind eye to worsening misconduct and organised criminal infiltration of major projects, for which every Victorian is paying the price, Pizzuto said. The Coalition's bill lists more than 24 entities caught up in the ban, including outlaw motorcycle gangs, the Comanchero, Hells Angels, Mongols, Finks, Banditos and Rebels. As part of the crackdown, the bill will also allow parties involved in the contracting of projects to request criminal history and association information from the Chief Commissioner of Police. On Monday, Victorian Trades Hall Secretary Luke Hilakari said the CFMEU had notified him it would be voluntarily suspending its membership immediately. Other interstate trades and Labor councils are receiving the same notifications, he told members in an email. The Liberal Party should also hang their heads in shame for not calling out superannuation for the rot it is. John Howard and Peter Costello should have shut it down when they got into power in 1996 and they didn't. Instead, they pandered to the big banks, who saw it as a way to rip off the workers. The sooner compulsory superannuation is abolished, the better. Wow. That is huge. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, I agree. This is about to blow Australia wide open, the government and the super and the unions. This could be a standalone video, this one. Don't think this isn't going on in your part of the world either, guys. I bet you things like this are going on all over the place. Wow. Well, you can let me know what you think about this down below. That is intense. And it's not even scratching the surface, really. Okay, guys. Hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.